Betty, this is a little different for us. There is a reason we do radio. Can anybody guess why we might enjoy doing radio versus public speaking? It comes with its huge advantages. Betty and I were kind of talking about that. We just enjoy doing that. We can essentially show up however we want to, and nobody has, yeah.
We have to comb our hair.
Exactly. So
Put makeup on.
that's right.
We don't want to.
So we're trying to look a little bit more put together for you guys today. But
Kylie would be proud.
oh, would she? Oh, yeah. I was telling some ladies earlier how my daughter helps me get ready now. You know, as they get older, they help you do that. So that's a fun thing. But we are so excited to be here today. We are taping this show. She uses the word tape. Do we use that term anymore? I'm finding myself using it. I'm like, Betty, we don't tape anymore. We record.
Is my age showing?
I just go with it. But we are recording live today here from the Sheraton here at the Cornerstone Women's Retreat entitled Surrender, and we're going to be talking with Kelly Matthews today. Kelly, thank you for joining Living Well today.
Absolutely.
Well, we've had a great time down here. These girls know how to party.
They do.
We had a lot of fun last night. You know, I saw Cammie. I saw you out there in the dance line.
What did you see me doing? Come on now.
But I got a tattoo. So, you know.
I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to explain that to people.
I'm just going to show them my tattoo
I
and
go
say,
with
look. That's all
I go
I'm
with
gonna
Betty
do.
to a Christian women's retreat. She leaves with the tattoo. I just am not sure how this is going to go over, but
I put it on
we will
Facebook.
soon find.
I took a picture and put it on Facebook last night. The girls on the team were calling me a rebel. So I said, oh, yeah. But it's a henna. Let me establish that. I'm
Yes.
too chicken to get a real one. It will hurt. But I got a lion because that's my word for the year. So, and it looks really, really cute. So.
Yes, well, we're having a great time.
Yes, we are.
Looking
We're
forward
having a
to
good
getting
time.
to know Kelly a little bit better through some questions. We appreciate you being willing to just randomly let us throw questions at you. You know, we find that one of the reasons we also love just interviewing women is we women, we like to eavesdrop. You know, there's nothing better than just kind of catching pieces of conversations. And so we like to bring that to life, and we get to ask you those questions, and everybody else gets to eavesdrop on that.
So, Kelly, is this your first time to Alaska?
Yes, it is.
And what have you thought so far of our beautiful state?
What I have seen of it, it's beautiful. It's also beautiful inside the hospital.
Oh, bless your heart.
The people here are very nice.
You spent, what, about 48 hours at Providence?
Not totally 48, but I spent most of, Thursday and then stayed the night and then got out yesterday evening.
Well, I admire you for even so persistent. I'm sure the doctors were not quite sure what to do with you when you wanted to leave.
I don't think they knew what to handle, how to handle me, yeah.
Well, Kelly, I'm not quite sure if everybody in the room here and our listening audience, they probably have no idea the struggles that you deal with daily. Could you take a few minutes and explain to them what your life is like on a daily basis?
I don't really know how to take a few minutes to do that. I think that in order to say how I endure it, I have to kind of say what my illnesses are. So I have neurofibromatosis, which means that I have a mutated chromosome. My tumor suppressant gene does not suppress tumors, so I just make tumors instead. And so I have tumors head to toe on my nerves in my body, and the tumors can grow on muscle controlling nerves and organ controlling nerves. And one doctor estimated that I have over 1,000 tumors in my body. I don't look like I do, but I do. And one nerve in particular is really messed up by tumors. And so I have vocal cord paralysis. So I have a trach. That's why I have this trach. And my autonomic nervous system is really messed up. And so my organs don't work. So if I'm not battling, I battle pain 24/7. I think I'm just going to whisper because it's easier. If I'm not in bed for from pain. I'm in bed. My voice is working, kind of. I'm in bed because of my organ dysfunction. So it's always something. And it's really difficult, physically and emotionally. But I'm not going to quit. So.
When were you diagnosed with this, Kelly?
The tumor disorder was when I was 19. I'm 32 now, so 13 years ago. The dysautonomia, I really wish my voice was working. The dysautonomia was actually a couple years ago when it started. So that was like a year ago I got diagnosed with that.
Do we need to stop? Are you okay?
No, people on the radio, I don't know if they're going to
Don't worry about that.
trouble hearing. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just turn it up.
Okay.
Not even a concern.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about your childhood. What was your home like that you grew up in? What was, or if you just want to share one of your most fondest memories of your childhood.
Do you know what you're getting yourself into?
Uh-oh.
Like, do you want me to? It wasn't pretty. It was rough. Yeah. Fondest memory. No idea. Having my... Crap. Having my sister still be alive. Childhood was rough.
Were you raised in a Christian home? Were your parents Christians or?
Yeah. But I didn't know how to, I didn't know what a real relationship was like with God until after I got diagnosed.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's what really drew you towards him.
My sister's death was like the beginning of that. But after my diagnosis, that's when I really had to hang on.
Go ahead, Betty.
I was just going to ask you, do you want to talk about that? Do you want to tell us about when you, about your salvation story?
I was 6. I knew that what I was witnessing wasn't right. And I'd gone to church. And I knew what I witnessed in church was amazing and right, and it felt good. But what I witnessed at home wasn't. So I knew that the next time when I got, the altar call when I was 6, that I should take it. And when I did, I felt like a rush of water type feeling come over me. And I was like, wow, it must have worked. So then ever since then, I know that God has spoken to me super clearly, and I have clung to him through the hard times. And I've always heard him leading me in certain situations to safety and in my sadness.
Can you take us back to the day when you learned about your diagnosis?
Yeah.
Or actually, let me even back up a step,
Okay.
Kelly. What was it that led you to look into what was going on? What was going on that made you think something's just not right?
I hurt really bad. My back, my lower back, felt like I was getting stabbed in the back, like in my spine. And before that, I had felt like bumps underneath my skin and my legs. And I was a runner in high school, so when I would do stretches, I
so I didn't really have much of a reaction. But when I found out the severity of it, or what I thought was the cap of the severity, he put the MRI film in the little light box thing, and and I saw like a bunch of white spots all over the MRI film. And I was like, God, please don't let him tell me that all that white stuff is tumors. And then he was like, you see all that white stuff? And I was like, gosh, don't do it. And he was like, all of those are tumors. And I was like, oh, crap. And I was 19. I was alone. My mom could not make that appointment. So he took me back into the room, and he said this disease could very well take your life or leave you paralyzed. And he just dumped a bunch of really scary information on me. It was terrifying. And I was depressed for like 6 months because I thought I was going to die. I was just waiting to die because he didn't tell me anything hopeful. Like, he just told me all the scary info. But I remember very clearly sitting on my break at a coffee shop I worked at. And I remember thinking, if God can use my sister's death to be used for like one good thing, like the salvation of my grandpa, which is what happened, God can use my tumors. Thank you. God can use my tumors in this illness. So bring it on. And so I knew that I had to be open for it to be used. If I was just going to be depressed, then the opportunities wouldn't come for it to be turned around. So I changed my perspective.
You know, Romans 8:28 is a verse that's often quoted, says all things work together for good. And we say that so often, but that verse can bring on a whole new meaning when you're faced with something like you've had to deal with. And I was going to ask, how does that verse speak to you, and how have you really lived that out? But it sounds like I was going to think, a period of time of 6 months, and you were able to change your perspective that quickly. That's amazing.
Yeah, which verse again? My thoughts and your thoughts. Is that the one you said?
Romans 8:28. All things work together for good.
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah.
Easily quoted, but more difficult to actually
Yeah.
claim it, right, in those situations.
I've always thought that was a hard verse. It's easy to say it, but when you're going through a tragedy or a trial, Christian people, they tend to say, well, all things work together for good. And I just want to say, just stop.
You want to punch them?
Yeah, just stop. I don't want to hear that again. But it is true. Once you can move past what is happening, what you're going through. I have great hindsight, and so you can look back and say, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's just hard in the moment to see that what you're going through, that anything good can come out of it, because you feel so awful. You're so broken. But that's the wonderful thing about the God that we serve. He loves to take broken things, broken people, and put them back together. Yeah. And he always puts them back together in a different manner, and it's in a manner that glorifies him. And I want you to know that I admire you. That within 6 months you were able to have that revelation, that change of thought, change of mind, and change of heart is incredible, and it has to be all because of God.
Yeah.
Kelly, you're married, right?
Yeah.
You want to tell us about how you met your husband?
Sure. I met him in high school. Don't think that we were high school sweethearts. That didn't happen. I was telling some girls last night, he wasn't interested in me because I looked like a 12-year-old boy. Those are words from his mouth.
bet he wouldn't say that now.
Yeah.
Oh, he does. I did look like a 12-year-old boy. I was a nerd. Like a real nerd. I mean, I'm still a nerd. But he was like the cool kid, you know. And I full-on stalked him. Like, drove by his house. Oh, right, I had my friend drive by his house. I was reclined in the passenger seat, peeking up,
So
seeing if I could get a glimpse.
Before Facebook, stalking was a lot more difficult, right?
Totally. Yeah. But we were friends because he was friends with everybody. Because he was just that guy. And that's why I liked him. Oh my gosh, I could say one time we had math class together. And I'm bad at math. But he did not know how bad I was. So he said that he was having difficulty with this one chapter. And I said, oh, I can tutor you. And, well, mind you, I did somehow understand this one part. So I thought I could tutor him. But when I got there, I could not think straight. I could not tutor him at all. So I didn't think through the whole process of how it was going to go when I couldn't help him. So I think it was like 30 seconds into it. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I shut the book. And I was like, but I did bring my swimsuit. Do you want to go swim in your pool in the backyard? So I hooked him, kind of, with my 12-year-old body. But it took a while. It took like 12, 13 years. But finally, we got married.
And so how many years have you been married now?
3.5.
Really?
Yeah. I liked him for a long time.
Take us back to your wedding day. Can you tell us a little bit
gosh.
about that?
Oh, man. Have you seen Bridezilla? I think I was kind of like that.
I wasn't expecting that. Were you?
Yeah. You probably weren't.
Didn't see this one coming.
Yeah. I was so nervous. I wanted it to go perfect. I was in a lot of pain. And it all went away when I was walking down the aisle, though. So the day after the wedding was awesome. The wedding day was rough. But I think it was just, I was all in my head. And I was hurting really bad.
So were you
But it
guys?
was awesome. I mean,
Were you guys dating when you got your diagnosis?
no.
No,
He was the first person I called, though.
really.
But we were just friends. But I didn't even call my mom, which I think is weird, because I didn't. He was the first person I thought of to call.
So what did that feel like to you to find somebody that loves you endlessly through the battles, willing to walk this journey with you? It's still kind of the beginning stages of finding out what this actually meant.
Yeah, that, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I think it's the type of love that God wants us to know that we deserve, that we're loved fully, no matter what you've gone through, like, in your past, like, self
Kelly, all of us in here are women, and we've all had, when we were little, we all had plans and desires and dreams of what we were going to be when we grew up. And along the way, life does not always work out the way that we want it to. But the theme of this retreat is surrender. I am sure that there came a time when you had to surrender your plans and your dreams to what God has planned for you. What has that been like?
Okay, well, I don't know if I think like my first plan, every little girl probably has wanted to be a veterinarian. So that idea went away. I wanted to be a brain surgeon and a McDonald's employee. So
At the same time?
yeah, like
That's
either
a wide
or,
range.
Yeah. And throw in the vet,
And a nice
working at
gator.
McDonald's.
Yeah, so, but my real first plan was like I wanted to be an architect. I love homes and the design of homes. But come high school, realizing I suck at math, I was like, okay, that's clearly not going to happen. So, but that's also the time where I started really like getting to know God, because that's when my sister died in high school. And I started wanting to be involved in the church and not knowing what that would look like though. And then I got diagnosed with this illness. I wanted to be an author, and I wanted to be like Beth Moore. I don't know. Probably most of us know who that is. She's awesome. So I don't know, like letting go of my plans. It hasn't really been tragic. It's been like as my life has developed into this illness and stuff, I feel like it's revealed my true identity. The things that I do have to sacrifice would be like bearing my own children. I don't get to do that. I have to find a surrogate, and we're still doing that. And it's stupid expensive, like super stupid. Like, yeah, like the cost of some homes, like, $80,000 or more. So that's something that I have to let go of. I have to let go of a normal day-to-day life. I wasn't expecting to be in chronic pain. I wasn't expecting to not be able to let my husband nuzzle my face because he's going to hit tumors when he does. That sucks. Those are the things that probably hurt the most about this. It's not the hospital stays. It's not surgery. I think surgery's cool. You get a scar. I like scars. The sacrifice is like in giving up what you think is normal. But then I'm reminded that this is my normal, and this is better for me, and nobody's normal, and everybody has to sacrifice in some way or another, and that this type of thing also makes my reach farther and my ability to relate broader. When I had this Drake put in, I was like, okay, this is cool, because now I get to relate to other people with Drake. most. So at the end of the day, I'm okay with it. But I just have to remember and have the right perspective all the time.
I've learned that that word normal, it's just a setting on a dryer. That's all that it is. You know, it's the way that you deal with things sometimes. You learn your life is one way for a long time, and then something happens and you switch, and normal becomes something different. But then a very wise lady said, Betty, just remember, normal's a setting on a dryer. And I say that a lot.
You know, so often when we're faced with a crisis of losing somebody, a health diagnosis, we ask God why. Do you feel like you've surrendered your why at this point? Or is that something that you still creeps up on you?
It absolutely still does. I think my overall why has left, but, like my big why, like in the very beginning type thing, but I know why, and like getting put in the hospital right when I got here, I was like, this is so stupid, and I really wanted to go see your guys' beautiful state, but I couldn't, and so I asked, like, why? But we're not supposed to know why. We don't always get to know why, and I have to live that daily. Like, I think me having to live that daily, like, so evidently, as a means of survival, like, I can't ask why. Like, my lower back hurts right now, and I can't think, gosh, why does my lower back hurt? Because I know why it hurts, and I'm fine. So, since I have to live within a heavenly perspective 24/7, I'm not tempted with that humanity's why. Ask like that, the question of why, very often. Because I have to live within the answer in order to not go crazy. So, but sometimes, I'm human. I get prideful. So I do ask why, but I'm reminded quickly.
You mentioned that...
Hold on. Let me just add this. The answer to our question of why isn't always what we want it to be either. And
That's right.
I don't think that we're going to know fully until we get into heaven too. And you just got to live within that peace.
Would it change anything if we knew the why? It doesn't change any of the circumstances.
Yeah, no.
So someone said that to me. Asked me, said, well, would it change anything? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
What is your relationship like with your parents today?
Oh, gosh. It's not what... Oh, man. It's hard.
Let me ask it differently,
Okay,
Kelly.
thanks.
Yeah. You mentioned that you grew up in a Christian home, but you didn't really see some of the things lived out at home that you might have expected from, that environment. How has your diagnosis and your relationship with God has grown through that? Have you been able to have an impact on them as well through that?
Yeah. My mom has called me her hero. I think the way that this has affected my mom, just my disease part of it, is probably the single most difficult thing
think our time is almost up. Is that right? Somebody give me some kind of signal. About 3 minutes. We have about 3 minutes left. Kelly, I want to tell you that when you said that you're now a husband and said that you were a girl with a boy's body, a boy's figure, 12-year-old boy, I just find that incredible because you're so beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, just absolutely gorgeous, and it's been our privilege to have you here and to get to know you, and I so admire you.
Thank you.
So many would just give up. I mean, that would be the easy thing to do, just to stay at home and give every kind of excuse to not leave the house. But you have gone beyond that in that you are helping other people, a lot of children that have the same disease that you do, and that's pretty incredible. I would like you to take just a minute, and maybe somebody here or somebody that's listening would like to contact you. Do you have an email or a way that they could do that?
Well, if you go to tumorhater.org, the email is on the website. Tumor is spelled Tumor, and then hater, HATER.org. Yeah.
Do you want to take a second and talk about that? I mean, it's an incredible organization that you have developed.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit I started because having tumors is hard, and having to pay for them is stupid. So I started this nonprofit to raise money for people going through tumor-related medical bills, or tumor-related medical illnesses, and we help pay for their medical bills. For the past year and a half, ever since I had my last surgery, it's kind of taken the back seat because I've gotten a lot of new issues, diagnoses, so I've had to travel a lot to get new doctors and stuff. But I am trying to get it back squared away to begin again with raising money for more people.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for letting us talk with you today.
Yes, of course.
Thank you all for helping us do a show. We appreciate it.
What an amazing job you guys did, ladies. I don't know if you've ever listened to him on Wednesdays.